This is Tim Haggerty with the Virtual Training Company, and we're doing our C++ fundamentals videos. We are going to take a look at a brand new concept, a brand new fundamental for C++, something you did not ever see in C before, and that's called a function template. A function template allows us to create a function that will accept different types as input, not just values. It used to be when we had to write a comparison or a sort or something like that, we'd have to write one for strings and one for characters and one for integers and one for floats and so on. Well, now we can use a function template, and when we use this template, we can say that when this function is called, that it can take in different types. It's very, very powerful. For example, down here we have a example, and the template class identifier function declaration, that's what it looks like, and template type name identifier function declaration. They're basically identical. There's no real difference in them. I think it was for compatibility with a different version or a different flavor of language that was brought into C++, but we'll just use the term class just to keep it consistent. So down here we have template, class, and then my type, and you're going to find out that that's usually just a capital T for type. That's most of the time what they use here. Then the actual definition is here. My type, that's going to be the same value from there. So if that's a capital T, or in our case just my type, that will come through here, and that is saying that the getMax function, here's the actual function that we're defining here, that, or declaring at this point, that getMax will return whatever the type is. And here's the type from up here. So let's say that this is an integer when we use it, and we're going to use it in a minute. I'll show you some code here. Then the getMax will return that same type. It will also take in two values, A and B, also of this particular type that gets used. In this case, the word my type, that's just the identifier, but that will be an actual type, like an int or a char or a float or a double or even a class. And we're going to see that in a couple of screens here, or a couple of videos actually, that there are class templates too. But right now let's stick with functions. So we have the type A and B are going to come in, and then this is simply going to do a return, and it's going to do a tertiary operator, and it's going to do the test, is A greater than B, and if that's true, return A. If it's not, return B. So either A or B will come back out of this, one of these two values, the bigger one, because it's called getMax. And when that return is performed, it will come back as whatever this type is that's coming into us. Okay, very simple. Let's go over and take a look at some code here. And here's all the standard stuff. And here's our template. Template class T, so there's that T that I told you about, and the compiler knows that this is a template. And here's getMax, and it gives us a little information that getMax will return a T. It will take in a T. It will take two T's, whatever they are, A and B, on the way in. And here getMax will create a result, and then the result will be equal to the comparison operator, and then we'll return that result. Basically just what we showed before. Now here it is in use. Here we set up a character A. We set it equal to a constant A, B, and X is going to be our return value, also a character. We set an int of 5 and 6 and a long of 10 and 5, just for numbers to put in here. Now here's how we're going to use this thing. Here we say K is equal to getMax type int. See the less than and greater than? Those are the characters you want to watch out for. So getMax is of type integer, and here's our I and j. So when this gets used up here, the getMax, we've said that this is going to be an int. So now wherever you see the type name T, replace that with int. And the compiler does all this for you. You don't have to do this. That's the great thing about the templates. Here we use it for longs, and is the getMax of longs, L and M, which are our two guys here. And then we use the character one. But you know what? There is an implied template version here as well. We can, if we leave off this int and long and so on, the compiler will figure it out. The compiler can look and see that A and B and X are all characters. It understands how the template is created using the same class all over, and that will imply characters, and that's exactly what it will do. And then here's just the cout that will print the output. So let's run this. And 6, 10, and B. Those are the larger values of all three of those. It did exactly that with just one piece of code. So those are function templates. Very powerful, something to take a much more in-depth look at as you start to get into really doing some programming beyond fundamentals. So a great way of separating your ideas from your actual code so that you can have one idea and let it work on multiple different types. That's really the power of templates.